Hey everyone, tonight we're going to be driving around on the Bear Road because I want to see, maybe we can find some moose around here. Around this area, everyone calls it the Bear Road because there used to be a transfer station with dumpsters that attracted the bears. That was like 15 years ago though. But the campgrounds that were responsible for that transfer station existing, they're not around anymore, so it's shut down. They used to allow people to go there and watch the bears, but eventually somebody said it was too unnatural to watch the bears tear through garbage, so they started locking it up and the bears went away. But that's why it's called the Bear Road. And I've actually seen a bear on it last year. Well, this road here leading to it anyways. I discovered yesterday there's a pretty big flood we're about to drive through. I'm going to attempt to drain it in the morning after we sleep. I'm not going to try that right now at night. I'll be well rested in the morning, and I should be well rested, and then I'll try to get this blockage because there's a pretty big flood. It's been raining, so there's a good amount of water crossing the road right up here. It's a small culvert. Oh my gosh, there's a moose in the road. Did you see that? There's a moose right there. He just ran away. And look at this, we got a big flood. We'll come back in the morning and do this. It's usually a pretty simple solution. It's a small pipe that's usually easy to unplug, but we'll wait until there's daylight. And yeah, that moose will keep an eye on it until the morning. So this road here was actually blocked last year. Somebody chainsawed it, made it open and passable again. Luckily there wasn't a huge blowdown. It was only a couple trees. I know some roads around here, they'll never be open again until they decide to actually log again. Like there's roads, the entire forest just fell over across it. Probably a microburst. Strong winds pushed everything over like dominoes. I've always enjoyed this road. When I was little, I used to ride my bike down it all the time. Yeah, I see people move the whole road over a little to get around the tree. Yeah, somebody must have cut the base of it and winched it over. Now this road, a couple years ago, I successfully made it with my old car, but recently, no, I didn't do it anymore because this road, there's part of it that's so muddy. We should be driving through that mud hole pretty soon. That's cool. We came out tonight to maybe see a moose, and we saw a moose like, yeah, it couldn't have been a better timing. Right after I started the camera up, we saw a good moose. But I've been out here on these roads since I was a little tiny kid, so I'm usually pretty good at predicting where the moose are gonna be. And I've been traveling these roads non-stop for the past couple of years. And there's just certain areas the moose linger around a lot. But you can only see them around dusk or right after dark, like right now. They're not around most of the rest of the time. They kind of hunker down in the daytime. They like it at night a lot more, even though they're pretty blind. We just saw is probably pretty excited because there's only 2 more days of hunting season for them. That moose just has to hide 2 more days. These roads are pretty grown in. I remember when I was little, actual log trucks coming down these roads. Now they're pretty grown in. Pretty muddy. I think we're about to hit the mud hole. The grass is getting pretty tall also. It's muddy, but this is not the mud hole yet. This whole road is basically turned into a stream. It hasn't rained in a few days, but the groundwater is just very active. There's a good trickle. Because the drainage ditches are basically gone. They're destroyed. They're all filled in, so it uses the road, which is now the lower point. Oh, there's a floodette. Yeah, that's flooded. Whoa, that hole was deeper than I expected there. I feel like that spot there, I've actually bottomed out before. Every time you hear that little beep when I hit a bump, the dash camera's supposed to be recording that, but I've never figured out how to get it to work. Even the dealer that installed it can't figure out how to get it to work, because it's recording everything I'm doing right now, but it's supposed to save it to the phone with Bluetooth every time it supposedly gets something exciting, but no one ever figured out how to get it to work. Now there's a good flood here now. There's a lot of water sitting in here. And it's the kind of spot a moose would probably like to hang out. They love mud. When I was little, there used to always be moose down here. We're about to enter a swamp. This is also not a good spot if there was a tree in the road. Well, I could probably back in there. Not a lot of options though. That hump in the middle's high. Just ran it over to feel it a little bit. This is the spot that I've almost got stuck with the old car, but I don't think we'll have much of a problem, because that mud is sometimes a lot deeper than it seems. I'm not in four-wheel drive, but I think we're good actually. No, I do need four-wheel drive. I just dug myself in a little bit and pulled myself right out. And get rid of four-wheel drive. Sometimes it's still good to use four-wheel drive even if you don't really need it. Because things like that can seize up if you go years without using them. Wow, this is very flooded. This was not flooded out this deep last time I was here. I bet beavers are involved in this. I hope it's not too deep here. There's a culvert missing. I hope it's not filled with water. I hope it's just a puddle right here. Yeah, this is a big ditch with a culvert missing. Yeah, we'll use four-wheel drive. I just hope it's not too deep. No, not that bad. Maybe a foot of water I just went through. Not bad at all though. This whole road is underwater suddenly. I just know the beavers are responsible for this. They have to be. Nothing else would have caused that to be flooded across with the water on both sides so elevated. But look at this. The road suddenly opens up. They just trimmed and fixed this road. So what do you think? You think in the winter they might be logging down there? Maybe they're waiting for all that to freeze solid. They just recently in the spring did maintenance around here. I'm thinking that they're about to reopen that rough section of road. Because, yeah, this, when it was a logging road, it was a one-way for the big trucks. They'd come in, and it was just a big circle. They'd load up and right back out. We did a moose video here back in July. I did the same exact route, except I actually did it in reverse back in July. But because they're doing all the work on it right now, I decided to go this way because last time I did it, they were first starting this work, and I got lost a couple of times briefly because the roads look totally different. But this way, it's almost impossible to get lost because all the roads kind of slant into each other, if you know what I mean. They're kind of like highway ramps. They're all aimed in the same direction, so you'd have to make such a sharp turn to actually get lost. It's designed like that so it pushes all the trucks in the right spot they're supposed to go. Because this was the way out for the trucks. A lot of logging roads are made like that, no sharp turns. Because, you know, all the trucks go where they need to go, and then they go back out. They don't go to one site and then go to another site. At least usually they don't. But they wouldn't be able to do that. They'd have to do like hairpin turns. I actually want to check out what's down this road. Who knows, we might discover someone camping. It's good weather. This is probably the last warm stretch of weather of the year. But it doesn't matter if someone's down here. Still curious if it's passable. It doesn't go far though. I believe this is going to go to an abandoned gravel pit where they get gravel and stone to build these roads up, because they're not going to truck it this far into the wilderness. It's not feasible. Yeah, there's a gravel pit down here. People used to camp at it all the time. Is it straight? No, this is definitely not the gravel pit road. 2 dead ends. I'm thinking of something else. Oh, this road's very soft. Or I got a flat. I don't think so though. So cool though, seeing a moose in the first minute of filming. I think right around this corner is the last time we did a moose video here in July in the reverse direction. I think we saw a moose right around this stretch with a baby. Right here's a giant rock somewhere, unless they fixed the road that I used to. Yeah, I hit it really hard once. I think the trucks crushed it deeper into the ground, or they took it out. someone said red pine, they grow really slow. They barely seem any bigger since I was here as a little kid. This road always looked like that, this same corner. It never grew in after all the years. We should be coming back out to the main road in a moment where I first started the video. And then we'll continue on another road, which is, it used to be a main artery up until 2 years ago. Then a bridge got knocked out and they never fixed a bridge. They just put concrete barriers because they're not using that area. Here we are, back to the main road. You see how it comes out like a ramp? No tight corner, but this tight corner I'm making is where the trucks would never turn with their trailers. Yep, so the trucks used to come up here, they'd make that left-hand turn, go down that road with the flood, then they'd go up that ramp that everyone calls the Bear Road. So this main road is 11 miles long when it's in good working condition. But the bridge is out, so we should be able to go about 8, maybe 9 miles before we have to stop and turn around. Something like that. I want to know exactly. We just went by mile marker 5. That's back to another main artery. That's how it works. Main artery. This road is pretty big, then smaller and smaller roads. I think around the next corner is where we entered before, but we're going to continue straight. This road here is very unpredictable in the winter as far as plowing it. This year they didn't plow a single piece of this road. I couldn't come here. 2 years ago they stopped plowing right here, dead end here and dead end to the left. It was just a turnaround. This year they plan on logging that road with the flood in the winter while the swamp is frozen. They plan on going in and logging it, so that means they'll plow it for at least part of the year. Now this road used to be dominant to the left, but no more. Now we're taking the turn to the right, and from here we are on mile 356. That's how many miles I've driven since I woke up today at 8 on just dirt roads. And yeah. So I want to know exactly how many miles. I think it's 8 miles or so before we're forced to turn around. One thing I do like about this area is, other than there's different openings and clearings from logging, but other than that, even when I was little, it never really changed. I can even look for specific tree stumps and things, which is kind of cool. If I would have taken the other road there that used to be more dominant back at the fork, there's an old twisted abandoned car that looks like they had fun running it over with logging machinery. But there's a gate there. I I'd have to walk a few miles down there. Can't take the car because someone's house is down there, and the logging company that they lease the land from for the house, they allow them to gate it so they don't have constant tourists turning around at the house. But you can walk down there. The lease to land is miles down that gated road. Right here, it looks like water sometimes crosses over. Hey, that's actually my marking ribbon over there from the spring when I went tagging on this road. This road here used to go all the way through at one point when I was little, but once the beavers plugged a pipe and washed out the road, now it's grown in pretty fast. Everyone realized you can't go down there. Used to be a good spot to watch moose. Can't get to it anymore. Oh, that's a brand new opening there. This road was actually a lot of fun back in the spring. I made a video, I titled it something like First Vehicle of the Year, and we were going around inspecting because that's like the most fun time to do that kind of thing, because you're the first vehicle when the snow just melts enough you can go down it. First tire tracks of the year. Gotta be careful because you can find random sinkholes, culverts missing. In the spring, we even found a bridge that was, it wasn't missing, but it was crooked. Almost got taken by the spring thaw. Yeah, if you're the first car of the whole season on these roads, you don't want to trust a bridge that looks a little crooked. It might just be hanging on by a thread, and the foundation might be gone. I have went up to bridges where the foundation was gone, but it's already been marked off. The best time to go around on these roads is the very early spring. All that tall grass and vegetation is crushed down by the snow. Easy to just drive by and do inspections like that. Very easy to spot things that are wrong. They did some road work here actually last year, but they never fixed the bridge we're coming up to. They didn't go that far. Road seems so narrow, especially with the grass in the middle. It's just overgrown with trees. This used to be 2 lanes. Mile marker 5. know back there I saw number 7. It's dropping again. So 5, 6, 7, 8. It might be counting down to what we're going to now. I still think 8 miles might be it. Ooh. I wish I didn't hit that so hard. I know somewhere on this road there's a very sharp culvert, but I think I have it marked unless the tape fell down. Right here, I had this section flagged back in the spring. You see the erosion here? It's not that bad, but I could tell because of it's so wet, there was a melting frost heave. So when you have a melting frost heave in the road, sometimes it's like quicksand. You can't really tell from the top too much, but if you put weight on it, you can sink pretty deep. Yeah, this whole road is wet like this because the drainage ditch to the right is completely filled in, making the road the lowest spot. So it followed the road until it found a low spot to get out again on the other side. Yeah, and the funny thing is, right before the ditch is filled in, there's a culvert that it's all missing. Like it enters, everything's flowing out of the woods into the ditch that's not even there anymore, right before a wide open pipe, right above it, and there's no way to get it to move there. Is this okay, here, right here we have a wide open road. I think that's a state campground down there. Did I mention that in this video? I might have mentioned it in a vlog I made earlier in the night, moose watching in a different spot. There's a bunch of state-run campgrounds around here that it's like $6 a night with basically an honor system, and the $6 a night just helps maintain it minimally. That is very cheap for a campsite, $6 a night, and that pays the guy who maintains its road, grading it. It maintains the picnic tables, someone going out to mow it, maintains other things that are there. Fire pit that has a boat ramp. Not bad. All the state campsites around here before COVID, they were $3 a night, which was very cheap. Doubled, it's still very cheap, I think. Not bad. If you go to an actual campsite, I think a tenting spot is like $30 or something. I'm just assuming. Back when I used to go to a campground up here, it was $20 a night for the worst campsites. So I'm assuming now these days probably couldn't find anything lower than 30. It depends where you go. It also depends what state you're in. I noticed that when traveling, it all depends where you are. Different parts of the country seem to have, like, if it's the right word, economies that are different. Certain places people get paid less, but everything also costs less around there, it seems. But the West Coast was the most expensive place. Also, New York is a very expensive state to purchase things in, along with New Jersey. The middle of the country was pretty cheap, that area though, as far as travel expenses. I have a button in here that I push to fill up with gasoline. It transfers fuel into a second tank into the car, and must have accidentally hit it with my knee because I just accidentally filled it back up from empty, but I was getting pretty low anyways. also so many times I accidentally click on the off-road light because they put the button like right in front of my knee. Accidentally hit it. I've never accidentally put it on like you see now. It's always low beam, which I don't think anyone would have a problem with. Because low beam, it's useless. You can't use it for anything. It's more of a marking light, or just for show. It shows the light exists, but it doesn't really project anything. Temperature's warm. It's 60 degrees, and when it's almost 10 o'clock, that's warm. November is just a few more days. It can snow anytime now. I know it can definitely snow. Because what year was it? I'm thinking 2020, I think it was. But also 2020 was a very warm October. At least part of it was. Part of it was also pretty cold. I remember we got a good amount of snow. Actually slid off the road that year. That's why I know there was definitely a good amount of snow on the ground. October. But any snow we get this month, it'll probably melt. But that is one thing I do like about up north. When it snows, it's usually there for the end until the end of the winter. It doesn't go away. When I lived in Massachusetts, if it snowed, that snow was usually gone in a couple days. It never really stuck around. Every now and then they'd get a cold stretch of weather, but it was rare. I only remember a couple winters ever being like that, where the rivers down there actually froze and were safe enough to walk on. It was rare. Up here, the rivers freeze solid every year, where you can walk around or camp on them. And because the snow never melts, it builds up. Like this area here, there'll be 4, even more feet on the ground at once. Snowbanks towering up. You can't even look into the woods when you're driving down them. I always thought that was pretty cool. If the Rocky Mountains get that kind of stuff again like they did last year. Last year they had record snowfall. And this year was like the first year in decades that California didn't have water problems. If that happens again this year, because they say it's probably going to be wet again, or precip a lot, meaning snow, that would be kind of cool to check out. Those pictures they showed last year of houses and neighborhoods in the Rocky Mountains. The snow was like above a 2-story house. Couldn't even shovel off the roof of a lot of houses because you can't shovel it off. The snow's literally up to the roof. So they had to use heavy machinery to push it away from houses. But I'm sure those houses up there are probably overbuilt because that area, it's not unusual. It just hasn't happened in a bit. I'd be afraid if there was more than 2 feet of snow, especially wet snow on the roof. I know it's up to code. I just don't like the idea of having trusses made out of 2x3. It just seems undersized to me, at least. Wow, this area's got a lot of tamarack trees. I was up north, like 4 hours north of this, and the tamaracks were looking nice. See all these pine trees? They look really beautiful. It looks like a hedge, actually, on the camera now. It's like big rows. These are tamarack trees. They lose their needles for the winter. If I came back here probably in another week, because it'll be cold, it'll accelerate them. They will all be bright yellow. It looks beautiful. They drop their needles. Only evergreen. Oh, the only pine tree that's not an evergreen. It'll drop every needle. It's kind of cool to see. Alright, so we have traveled. We started at 3:56, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 miles we've been traveling. And here's the road barricade. Wait, I got that right? Wait. It started at 3:56, 57, 58, 59. My brain just can't do math at the moment. No, we just went 6 miles, so it's not 8. I know the loop's about 11 miles. Yeah, you see, somebody dragged one of the barriers out of the way because they thought they'd be able to drive a little bit further down here. I'll drive down here and I'll show you. The bridge is like right here. It's pointless, whoever dragged that out of the way. If it was daytime, I might even be able to see it. It's gonna come sudden because that's what was blocking the bridge. There's nothing blocking it, I don't think, after that, which is kind of dangerous now that somebody had moved that out of the way. They probably winched it or whatever. Where's this bridge? It's got to be marked or something. I just know there's not a barrier. I hope there's at least some marking, because I know a lot of people wander down this road, tourists in the summer. Oh, I guess there's a curve in it. It's the other end that I can see it from the barrier. Don't want to go too fast up to the abandoned bridge. And is this it? No. Here it is. That's gotta be it, right? Yeah, look at the amount of people turning around. Well, at least there's a good spot to turn around. I don't believe there was so last time we came down. Yeah, those barriers, those are on the other side of the bridge. So I could actually pull onto the broken deck. Who knows? I bet that bridge, if I did it properly, I could still drive over that with confidence, because your wheel will fall through the deck, like obviously some truck fell through the deck, but there's heavy I-beams underneath there that where your actual tires are supposed to be lined up. But yeah, just avoid the hole in the middle. There's no structural integrity in the very center of these bridges, because that's not where your wheels are supposed to be. Yeah, that was hard to turn around last time. So many people have to do it that they just plowed over all the grass. That's nice now. And we're back out. I thought I was going to have to back up on this for a while. Oh, I'm throwing mud that I just collected off to the side there. That was muddy. See another surprise moose. That'd be cool. This is still their hours when they like to be out wandering. Yeah, so they put the barrier here so they're not wasting people's time. And also, imagine if someone went down there with a trailer. That's gonna be a headache backing up. You see, they had it set up where someone could do a nice turn right there back into that dirt road and out. They probably should have put a sign up that said bridge out so and so miles ahead, but they don't have it. So there they actually put the barriers in a good spot, giving you a spot to turn around. And further down, I don't know why they blocked it off right at the bridge. I know somewhere, if I look at old memory cards, I have pictures of this spot of road. I used to think it was beautiful. When these trees weren't here when I was little, it was an open field here to the right, overlooking a lake. Now it's so overgrown because these type of trees grow fast. can't see it anymore. The beautiful view of a lake. Wow, there's even a sign in there. It's all overgrown. Yeah, I was looking at some of my old memory cards because I used to use a digital camera when I was like 12, and I didn't get my first like phone I started recording videos with until I was, I think, 14. I ordered it on Amazon. It was a $16 smartphone. It only recorded in 480, which today's standard, that's garbage. All my early videos are recorded in that quality, but it did the job, and people still liked the videos back then, even though they were recorded in lower quality. These days, a lot of videos, even 1080, people say is obsolete, but if it doesn't need a lot of detail, like if it's more of a talking video like this, I don't bother with the 4K. It uses a lot of storage, especially for if I'm saving all that. But anyways, back then, I couldn't believe I was using memory cards, and I was just taking pictures. I wasn't video making, so I could actually save hundreds of pictures. 1 gigabyte cards and a 500 megabyte SD card. That's how small of SD cards I was using back then. Back then, I would have thought a 4 gigabyte or an 8 was huge. These days, I consider anything below 32 tiny. The only card I have that's tiny still in service is a 16 gigabyte, and it's got me into trouble with that trail camera filling up before. Next time I come across that, I think I'm gonna get rid of that. But I was going through old SD cards looking at pictures I took when I was little, most of which pictures are in slideshows on YouTube. Like 7 years ago, most of my videos were, there was a lot of slideshows with just music overlaid on it from these roads. Just still pictures of interesting things I did back then. I was going through all those memory cards, which were like a gigabyte a piece, and I found a couple of my memory cards. My phone can't read it, my computer can't read what's on it, it just says empty. There's like nothing on it. I'm assuming maybe I moved it and just deleted it, but I know that you can find things on a SD card. An SD card is never truly factory reset or deleted. Someone who's good with computers can still find stuff on there, so I thought about sending it to some computer person to figure out what's on there, or restore what's on there, or restore multiple layers of what's on there, because I'm very curious what I may have taken pictures of when I was little and deleted. Yeah, there's people out there, if you send them an SD card, they can figure out what used to be on it, what used to be on it before that, multiple layers of stuff that you think you deleted, but there's traces of it that can be usually restored. That's the reason why, if you have any computer, even a smart TV, a phone, your information is never truly gone unless it's shredded or destroyed somehow. Even if you factory reset a phone and you give it to one of those things where they give you cash for old phones, in my eyes, that's kind of a security problem, because I know you can take an old phone and give it to a certain person and they can find things that are on there. It's just like with old cassette tapes or old videotapes. You could record things over other things, but technically what was originally there is still readable to like a very high-tech lens or whatever. And I know it's possible because I know someone who accidentally deleted things on memory cards, sent it to someone, and they were absolutely amazed and embarrassed when they got back their memory card, because not just the stuff they deleted was on there, but stuff they deleted from a year ago was on there. They recovered so much stuff. Yeah, if you have things on your phone, especially like criminal things that somebody might have, deleting it does not mean it's gone. They'll usually figure it out. unless you delete it and filled it back up so many times that the traces are, I imagine it would go away. Like, I brought up cassette tapes because I know like sound quality and stuff will diminish if you do it enough times. So I imagine maybe digital storage would do that. I'm not sure though. I have noticed certain cameras of mine degrade as they get older. I don't know if it's the camera wearing out or its storage is wearing out. Or maybe it's just because I'm noticing better cameras as the old ones age. I don't know. But I remember my last laptop. I recycled the laptop, but I took its hard drive and destroyed it myself for that very reason. There's a lot of people on the internet that just try to steal my things, but it's gonna happen. And I guess people told me to look at it as a compliment, that my videos I make out here are actually exciting enough that people actually go out of their way to steal them. I'm still hoping to see a moose. A lot of times driving out here at night, hours on end, there's a lot of trees and things that look kind of like shapes of animals. I've driven by different logs and things near the road. When I drive by it, it projects a shadow, and the shadow's moving as I get closer to it, obviously, and I think it's some animal. That's happened a lot of times out here. Getting suddenly frightened by a shadow moving on the side of the road. Frost heaving section. I feel like they'll fix this though at some point, just because there's a state-run campground. I think they'll run a grader down here. Was going to be deeper. First time I ever drove down this road myself, right there in that little opening, there used to be the biggest rock in the middle of the road, and everyone had to drive around it. Even the trucks had to drive around it. It was so big. They finally pulled it out of the road after years. this culvert here that's so high, it's never actually done anything. Everything's flowing by it to the first culvert. And that culvert would never actually run unless it was already crossing the road. Never understood it. But all they had to do is put a few dump trucks in that low spot and then it would work. Maybe they couldn't get it lower because of bedrock or something in the way. But not that hard of a fix. They did actually fix it a little. They actually smoothed it out, but they didn't fill in the low spots at all. Ideally, you want a culvert pipe to be a little bit on the hill so it functions, but if the road had to wash out, it wouldn't be where the pipe is. Video here. I'm gonna find a spot to park for the night and sleep. There'll probably be a moose in the road as soon as I shut the camera off though. We're right back now on where we started today. Hope tonight's video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching and have a great day.